Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of what does out of sight, out of mind mean? Well, it's a simple concept of basically if something's not in your surrounding, if you don't see it, well, it kind of doesn't exist. But is that the way that we want to live? I think not. The thing is that a lot of people really do live with that way of thinking, which is basically if it's not happening in my area, if it's not happening within my neighborhood, if it's not happening within my country or the people that I know, well, it doesn't exist. But the thing is that it does exist. And it's kind of like when you say, hey, the bees, or this and that animal is getting extinct and it's gonna basically change my whole way of being, and it can destroy the world because then fruits and trees and all these things will not grow. And it's kind of like the same thing. So if the bees are extinct, well, we are extinct. And it kind of goes again within the same way. If the whole world is at war except for your country, or if the whole world has a pandemic like we're having, but we're closing our eyes to it and we're just saying, nah, it doesn't really affect me because my area is cool, or nah, I'm good. Well, now you're closing yourself to that part of the world, and even though it doesn't affect you directly at this point in your timeline, well, it might actually affect you down the line in more ways than you think. If, for example, since we have so many goods that come from China, well, the Chinese, or basically the whole Chinese population, or the whole of Asia is not doing well, well, it's going to impact the prices of your things here in America, or it's going to actually make it to a certain point where you're not going to be able to have these goods because we're so reliant on people from those countries. We're so reliant on those manufacturing moguls and stuff like that. And you don't want to have a war between these countries, between other countries, because again, it goes back to this. You may be okay at the current moment, but the fact that that place is at war can basically affect you in a certain way, because we are part of the world. So as part of a world, even though it's not being seen, it's still important because it can affect us. It's kind of like if you've ever owned a property, or just lived in general in any place, there could be a leak in your pipes. There could be a leak in your water pipes. So you might not see it directly all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden you see that everything's getting messed up in your house because water is going under in the pipes and it's just leaking everywhere. Or it goes back to the pipe in your house that could basically just simply be clogged, and the fact that it's clogged means that you're not going to have the water draining anymore, and what was first running like a sink that was running water regularly, and then little by little it starts being like a little bit of clog, and then the water starts draining. It's a little bit slower and you're like, it's okay, it might solve itself, but then eventually it stops draining and then you have a completely clogged sink, and you think, oh, okay, well now it's a problem. And that's often a lot of times what happens, and it's a bit sad because basically it's again out of sight, out of mind. Unless it affects us, we often don't really think about it. But it can go to other extents, not even in war. Think about just the simple fact of getting a clogged artery in your older age because you had so much junk food or so many greasy things throughout your life, and what happened is that basically the lack of exercise has created this whole perfect situation where, you're just unhealthy. And if you're unhealthy, after years of abuse of your body, well, eventually, you die. So having this whole out of sight, out of mind kind of like point of view of thinking is really wrong. And I think that's why we have so many problems in our life, so many problems in our societies, because For example, the rich will often just look at their own pocket and not really understand that what really creates this economic way of, or this boom in economy, is basically the fact that we are in a consumer society, and if the poor people are not able to consume, well, the richer traders, the richer companies that rely on the fact that they need to have products sold in order to survive will not survive. So you see, even the wealthy are impacted by the poor in the same way that the poor are impacted by the wealthy, because again, in the same way, if the wealthy don't have their companies, they're not able to create product and give that product to the poor or middle class, and vice versa. So never think out of sight, out of mind. Use your mind actually to understand the things that are not happening within your realm. Don't listen to conspiracy theories, because a lot of them are fake, and if you do want to research things that you might not have knowledge or they don't talk about on the news and stuff like that, check your sources, cross-check them through however many websites or books or all these things that you can find, because a lot of misinformation is also not good, and that's definitely another topic. But don't ever think out of sight, out of mind. There's a lot of crap happening all over the world. There's a lot of illnesses, there's a lot of wars, there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of good too. You know, I don't always want to be in the sad stuff, but just be aware of what's happening around you, and you'll be aware of what's happening within you too, because that's all it is. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say on the subject. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.